Down in the Dugout, powered by Scout Scoops.
Welcome to another edition of Down in the Dugout, the show that covers everything baseball and a little bit more. Tonight, as always, I have my my typical co-host with me. I apologize, Chris Awija, in-house Sox fan. Welcome, Christopher.
How's it going, Bob?
Good, it's going well. Scott Spindler is also with us as always. Welcome, Scotty.
What's up, Bob? How are you?
Doing well this evening. 2 sick kids in the house. Long week, but we're still here tonight. Little sleep deprived, but we're going to make it. So, and then as a special guest, and we're very excited about this, we have Katie Woo. Katie Woo is from The Athletic. She covers the Cardinals. We want to give her a special welcome. Welcome, Katie.
Guys, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be a part of this.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So what we're going to do here, as we typically do with the show, is we're going to cover a little bit about Major League Baseball, see what's been going on for the week, who's hot, who's not, who's in a little bit of trouble. And that would be a team on the north side. We'll get into that. But yeah, and then we're gonna get into Katie's story. We want to hear more about Katie, who you are, where you came from, what you're doing, and so yeah. So everybody's going to be joining us tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then after we're done here, we're going to be talking. Scott, is this real? Down in the Dugout, we're covering NFL draft.
We're going to talk about the draft. I mean, we'll be on during the draft, so we might as well at least mention it, right?
Oh, okay, all right.
I mean, there's a lot of interesting things going on in the world of football today, so I think we'd be naive not to bring it up, right?
Yeah, we'd be remiss not to bring it up, I believe. And then I believe there's also another subject we'd like to breach, and that subject is that of rosters, minor league rosters, right?
Yeah, we've got some cool stuff coming up between 8 and 9. We've got some roster talk, and then we've got a couple cool announcements that I think everybody's going to really like. So yeah, a lot of fun, good stuff tonight.
Very good. And we're going to get ready to get into the Major League Baseball right now. First, Katie, we talk a lot of video games around here, sports video games. Now, is that okay? Do you want to jump off right now, or are you a fan?
I play the show every now and then. I'm not great at it. My brother, he kicks my butt every time, but I can participate.
All right, good deal. So Major League Baseball. I want to hear who's hot, who's not. I want to see who's exciting for you guys to watch. What are the stories that have piqued your interest this week? Katie, let's go ahead and start with you.
Well, I have been pretty Cardinals focused for obvious reasons, but one thing that I have enjoyed about living in Central Time for the first time in my life is I get home from work and like a true sociopath doing baseball for 10 hours a day, I go home and there's a baseball game on. So I've been watching a lot of West Coast action. And I know I'm going to get some accusation of recency bias or location bias because this is where I'm from, but I promise this is not the case. I'm just that shocked about the Giants, who were not supposed to be good, who were, it was Dodgers, Padres, everybody else. And now here the Giants are on top of their division. Their rotation is, they're like, there's a whole bunch of people just defying age, like Buster Posey, Evan Longoria. They look like they're like 26, 27, and that rotation is looking really good. So that's been surprising. And I've been a little bit surprised to kind of see the Padres struggle, and not that they're bad by any means. I mean, they just gave us 2 of the most exciting series in baseball in the first month. But they're hurt, and they've been a little bit inconsistent offensively, and it's been a little bit confusing to kind of see the Giants and the Padres flip-flop there.
Right. Well, in fairness, and you bring up an excellent point, about a month ago, right before the season started, we had a panel on here, and one of the picks to click for the season, surprising teams, if you will, was the San Francisco Giants. Mm-hmm. So we've been a fan of them as a dark horse, and it's fun to see them because that really changes the dynamics of that division. Like you had stated, everybody was riding the Padres horse or the Dodgers horse, a 2-team race, and now we've got the Giants jumping in there. And so let's see how long this continues. Do they make a trade to bolster the staff? Do they make a trade to bolster that lineup? Do these kids keep playing like kids, as you alluded to? So fun story for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, the thing about the Giants too is Gabe Kapler. I've been a Gabe Kapler fan. Being a Phillies fan, obviously we know the history. He came to Philadelphia. He got off to a rough start. But I was a fan of Gabe Kapler. There's a big divide in Philadelphia, the fan base of people either loved or hated Kapler. But I personally was a fan of the way he managed the team. I know he had some issues, and it was his first management experience. First time being a manager. But I really think that he relates to the players on a good level. I think it's a different style that he brings to the team, and I just think it's working in San Francisco. So it's really cool to see, because I think San Francisco is a team that, they were close a couple years ago. They almost signed Bryce Harper, right? They were in on Harper to the end. And now I think that they've taken that next step. So I think this year you'll see the Giants, in it a lot longer than we anticipated, right? Who knows? I mean, you never know what could happen. But it's exciting to see the Giants back in a way that, I could see them being big time players in the free agency market once the offseason rolls around. They're definitely going to be in the market for one of the shortstops, or, they're going to be big time players this coming offseason. So it's fun to see.
Well, let me ask you this. Do the Giants have the pieces and the want this year? Do they see themselves as a positional team to where if Chris Bryant's available, if Wilson Contreras is available, I'm using all Cubs because we're horrible. Do they go out and grab one of those pieces, or do they say, hey, let's make it through this year, spend some money in the offseason, let's the farm system come up a little bit, and we'll be good for the next 3, 4, 5 years? Where do you think their mindset is right now in San Francisco, Katie?
I think I'm not covering that team anymore. I'm no longer in the market, but the gist that I got when I was there this off season was they're playing the long game. Their blueprint has always been to kind of connect with the free agency market that's going to explode in the off season. You combine that with the CBA negotiations and their farm system. All their top prospects are projecting to be ready by 2022, early 2023. So it's this perfect combination of all of these things that's going for them. So I think that if they're close, I don't know how long this Giants run is sustainable. It's just fun to talk about now because no one really saw it coming, right? Eventually at some time, Buster Posey and Evan Longoria and those guys are going to have to come down to earth. Maybe we'll see. But I think that if they are still in play by the trade deadline, there's no way they don't make a move to get better and to compete. But their big move, their big splash, their franchise name, that's coming this offseason. That's always been the plan. That's always been their blueprint. The Giants are a very methodical, well thought out team under Zaidi. So that's where I'm really expecting. I'm expecting 2022 for the NL West to be the most powerful division in baseball.
Yeah.
Minus the Rockies.
That's
I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And we're going to get to your Cardinals soon. But Christopher, I want to hear from you, buddy.
Yeah, about the Giants or about anybody?
Well, no, just what has piqued your interest in the world of Major League Baseball this year?
This week. Well, I mean, I think just in general, just the way the Twins have been performing, I think is very surprising. I mean, they were that was their division for the taking essentially, and they've looked terrible. The bullpen is not very strong. Colomé keeps blowing saves. And they're not anywhere near the top right now. I mean, the Royals have a hold on that division right now. I mean, nobody is the two teams, the Sox and the Twins, have both been kind of scuffling, but the Twins especially, I think they just look really bad, despite how amazing Buxton looks. That kid's amazing. He's finally breaking out. It's awesome to see, and I hate saying that because I don't want to see him do that against the Sox, but he's really fun to watch. I mean. When he hustles from out of the box to first base, I mean, the guy is just lightning fast.
Yeah, he's a monster. I mean, he's always been projected to be the player that he's turning into be, and it just took him a little bit longer. But yeah, he's definitely fulfilling his potential at this point. So it's fun. It's fun to see him carry that team a little bit. For what he's doing. I mean, where would they be without him at this point? So
yeah, exactly.
And can we talk about the Boston Red Sox again? I thought the slide may be coming here a couple of days ago, and now they bust out 3 more in a row. They're sitting 3.5 games up in that division. They're 16-9. They've got a run differential of 22 runs on a positive. I mean, is this team legit this year?
Well, I think think about it, Bob. We talked about it in the offseason.
We did.
We talked about what was going to be the make and break for the Red Sox, right? We talked about pitching. We said,
Right.
oh, well, it doesn't seem like they have pitching. Well, the guys that they have, look at Nick Pivetta. Obviously, again, being a Phillies fan, I know Nick Pivetta because he came from Philadelphia. So he was a guy who always had good stuff, and we were just waiting for him to put it together. He goes to the Red Sox, and he's pitched great this year. So their pitchers are pitching great. They're playing well. I mean, that division is come back a little bit. I mean, the Yankees obviously aren't what people anticipated them being this early yet. I mean, they could still turn it around and probably win 10 or 15 in a row because they've got that kind of potential. But at this point, I mean, I don't think the Red Sox are going away. And, it's the Red Sox. So, if they're hanging around, come trade deadline, they're obviously going to make some moves to get themselves better. Plus, they have that, that horse on the way back in Chris Sale. So, if they can get Chris Sale to be Chris Sale, mid-season, that's a nice addition to their rotation. So they should be fun to watch this summer.
You know who I owe an apology to? We had, and I don't know if anyone remembers this, we had Blair Henry. He's a scout for Boston Red Sox on here about a month and a half ago, and he said this. He goes, "I think we're going to be better than most people are giving us credit for." And as a gracious host, I'm like, I believe you're right. In the back of my mind, I'm like, you shouldn't drink on this show, Blair. It shouldn't go this way. But now I need to call Blair up and tell him that I am sorry. Have you had a chance, Katie, to watch the Red Sox much this year?
I have not. They've mostly coincided with Cardinals coverage, which I'm slowly learning is a full day and full night job. I get it. I have a lot of friends that are beat writers, and I texted one weekend of the season, and I was like, "Hey, does it ever calm down?" And I used a worse phrase than that, maybe not as polite. And he said, "No, it never does." So, and I'm learning he is true. It is a walking disaster, but it's so much fun at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to get into your career. Let's go ahead and do that. You started off at Arizona State. You end up, and after Arizona State, you end up working for, I believe, was it the minor leagues as an assistant editorial?
So it was kind of, it's really, there's a lot. Sometimes I get confused too. So I graduated Arizona State in 2018 and then immediately went into this now defunct internship program through Major League Baseball where they offered, and you spent the summer, 30 graduates, 30 teams in MLB, and you spent the summer with one team and you were like the backup beat reporter. So I hit the location lottery. I got San Diego. I worked under a phenomenal writer named AJ Cassavell all summer. And just cover the Padres, and we would cover the opposing teams too. Sometimes I'd go to Dodger Stadium. And it was just, to kind of get my feet wet and see, is this something that I want to do? This is what beat writing is. This is what it entails. So that's how it all started. I loved it. I loved every second of it, even though the Padres, I think, won maybe 5 games when I was there. And I think they won like 66 overall. And then right after that, I stayed with MLB Advanced Media when the internship ended. I switched to minor league coverage. So I spent the 2019 and the 2020 season that didn't happen covering the minor leagues and top prospects. And that was really cool because I got to do something different. And I got into evaluations and projections and kind of seeing how the whole minor league systems work and the emphasis in farm systems and how player development all works. That was, I think, really instrumental in landing me here at The Athletic. Obviously, when the 2020 minor league season was canceled, we still worked. I could not credit my fantastic coworkers and my editors for making sure we were still putting out a good product at that time. But at the off season, it was becoming very clear that there wasn't going to be a lot of opportunities. So I just took a job in my hometown market for a little bit. It was a part-time role at NBC Sports Bay Area, just kind of looking for the next thing. I'd freelance for The Athletic every now and then, mostly on Oakland A's coverage. But I knew a lot of people that worked there. And when I saw that there was a Cardinals writing job open, I was like, you know what? Let's just try it. Let's see what happens. I'm just going to send an application in and we'll go from there. And then, 2 weeks before opening day, they said, hey, do you want this job? Do you want to move to St. Louis? And I said, okay, let's do it. So it's been wild, like that's why I'm doing it for my kitchen. Like we talked about, Bob. I don't have any furniture yet because I just moved here. So it's not set up. So my whole apartment is empty.
Oh, and I want to get back to this Cardinals position, okay? But You're a young girl. You grew up in Northern California. When did the love of baseball first hit you?
I went to my first baseball game when I was 6 weeks old. It was an A's and Red Sox game at the Coliseum, so I think it was pretty much in the cards for me.
Yeah.
I'm the first child, and I think my dad really wanted a boy, and he got a girl, so he was like, whatever, I'll just make her like sports. So we went to Giants games mostly, some A's games, but mostly Giants. It was the Barry Bonds era, all the time, and I have this really annoying need to be right and to argue. So we would always argue over the trivia questions, watching the games on TV to see who could come up with the answer first. And, it became a weird obsession. That's really where it came from. I played sports growing up, but it was always baseball, the one sport that we couldn't really play as girls. We played softball. That always had my attention. I just thought there was so much to learn from that you can take in. They say it's a slow sport, but it's really not. If you're paying attention, there's so many different elements there, and that always captivated me. So I've always liked to write. I didn't know you could necessarily make a career out of it until I went to college. So when I figured that out, I was like, this sounds perfect. And thankfully that it's all worked out so far.
Perfect. That's a great story. So you get to St. Louis, all right, which is to many kind of part of the mecca of baseball. Okay. I don't want to claim all of it because I'm going to have Yankee fans in here and Red Sox. Yeah. But we'll just say it's a very important town in Major League Baseball. Your first day you get there, can you walk us through? What was it like? I mean, hey, you had to be nervous. You're coming from the West Coast, all that, and you're coming to the Midwest, St. Louis Cardinals. Walk us through that if you would.
Yeah, this is embarrassing. I almost don't want to admit it, but I'm going to. I feel like we can laugh about it. I had to Google where St. Louis was. I wasn't quite sure where. I was like, okay, so where am I moving to? And then I figured that out. And my first day on the job was actually in Cincinnati because the Cardinals opened up on the road. So I was living out of a hotel at the time. We spent 3 or 4 days in Cincinnati. And then when I got to St. Louis, I got dropped off in front of my hotel, and they had a road game that was just starting. So I didn't even get to really see the city for the 3 days until opening day. So the Cardinals home opener was really my first taste of St. Louis and my first taste of St. Louis Cardinals baseball and all the history and the lore that it brings, because it's such a traditional baseball town. And I'm not saying one is better than the other by any means. I think all franchises have their importance, but what the Cardinals mean to St. Louis and the prestigious history that the Cardinals have had is so important in baseball. And I don't think that's something that you can really understand as a writer and as a reporter until you're at the ballpark and you're there for opening day and you see the tradition. And this is the first time they had fans back in over 500 days. Arenado hits a 2-run home run that ends up winning the game. It was just a really cool moment. And that was kind of like, okay, this is it. This is what you're signing up for. Here's what you can expect. I still haven't figured out the weather situation, but I have figured out and I think this is the most important part in doing my job correctly. I figured out the importance of baseball to this city. And everything else, if you can understand and you can relate to the fans, everything else will come. So I'm trying.
No, you make a great point. And I think your point of being a baseball city is even that much more important once the football team left. And so you've got the Blues there, you've got the Rams. Or sorry, everybody in St. Louis, you've got the Rams leaving. So it's just amplified. But I would agree with you. Okay, I typically don't like talking Cardinals baseball here. It stings and hurts my soul.
I can tell that from the Cubs hat.
But I will say this, and I've said it before on this. Living in St. Louis for a couple years, I've probably went to 15 Cub games. And what I always appreciated about Cardinals fans was they were willing to talk baseball on a deep level, have fun, always treated well. And it's just an amazing baseball town. And let's not discount Busch Stadium. That's a hell of a stadium. Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. I joked that I hit the press box lottery seat because I'm almost directly behind home plate. I have a great view. There's a lot of bugs there, though, so maybe that's the trade-off. Actually, I've had 2 writers had to come kill 2 separate bugs for me this week. So that's my only complaint. My only complaint about the stadium, the amount of weird creatures there.
So you have not been to every Major League Baseball stadium. Would that be a correct statement?
That is correct. It's my list. It's on my bucket list, but I haven't actually been to very many.
That's a hell of a bucket list. I like that bucket list.
Yeah.
What I do want to know is if you could visit one right now, what's the one that you haven't visited that you're heading out tonight to go visit?
I've never been to Fenway, which I think is like a fireable offense. So I would say Fenway for the history, and then for personal, just I really want to see it. I've heard nothing but good things. It's a tie between Camden Yards and PNC Park, which is I'm so mad I'm not going on the series this weekend. But those Fenway for the history and to just say that I've been there, and then for personal reasons, just because I think both parks look gorgeous on TV, and I've heard nothing but great things about both Camden and PNC.
Yeah, PNC is amazing. Been there multiple times, but I would agree. So let's go ahead and get back into, if we could, a little bit about your career. Could you walk for those listening and are interested in kind of like how life works for a writer with The Athletic when you're a beat writer? What does your day look like? You wake up in the morning and...
So I wake up in the morning and I try to do one thing every now and then I'll try to do some like exercise or anything like that. But did I lose you guys? Can you still hear me?
Nope. There you go. Now
Okay.
I was gonna say we could hear you, but your video is.
I can still hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, you froze for a second.
But my mornings right now, since I just started on the beat, I'm trying to get myself out there as much as possible. So I try to do a radio show or a podcast in the morning. I'm usually in meetings with other writers or calling them or talking to my editor and just kind of planning what the series is going to look like, game storylines. If it's a night game, Cardinals usually play their weekday night games at 6:45. I try to get to the park around 3:00 so we can do our pregame pressers, which are on Zoom. But also I like to watch batting practice. I like to, even though I'm not on the field like a normal time, you can still see storylines like where guys are warming up, a different player getting reps here. That's stuff that you need to pay attention to, even if you don't have the access you are capable of before. Game is game coverage. I try to live tweet at The Athletic. For those of you who don't know, we don't write every day. We're not writing traditional game stories. We focus more on long-term platform stories or in-depth features, or, if there is a really special game like Adam Wainwright threw a complete game and got the loss on Monday, then we'll write it, but it will have a spin-off kind of what it means going forward. So I'll kind of let the game decide how my night looks like, and my editor will chime in as well. So after the game ends, after last pitch, we jump on our Zooms, we talk to the manager again, we talk to certain players. I transcribe everything, and then some nights I write, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm writing 2 to 3 stories at once, sometimes it's not. It's kind of all over the place, and we haven't really incorporated travel into any of that yet. It's a lot, but it's what's to be expected. The demand is there. With The Athletic, you have the opportunity to do so many different cool things and ideas, and there really is a lot of freedom for me to kind of choose what I want the coverage to be, which is why I wanted to work at The Athletic so bad, is because they give us a lot of free reign there. So if I want to do a story on something and I think I have a good idea, it's pretty much okay to run with. But what I'm learning is there's no typical day in beat writing. You can expect something, right? You can say I have all this planned out, everything's according down to the minute. Doesn't matter. It won't matter, right? It's all over the place all the time. You're pretty much at the team's disposal, and they know that. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. You've been around the game, both minor league level, both professional level. You've seen a lot of great players in person, up front, up close. Is there one player that you stepped in front of or talked to that outside you're very professional and courteous, inside you're just melting and excited and you can't show it? Who's that player?
I grew up and I idolized JT Snow. He played first base for the Giants for forever. And, when you grow up in the 2000s in the Bay Area, you think Barry Bonds. Yeah, Barry Bonds was great. When I interviewed him, it was awesome. It was like a surreal experience. But JT Snow was a whole different level for me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is my idol. This is so exciting. And it was probably the most boring interview ever on my end. But that was still pretty awesome. But I think what we have to remember about is that these guys are human beings, right? They are just showing up, doing their job. So if you come into this approach, especially from a media perspective, you cannot have this approach of, oh my gosh, I'm talking to Yadier Molina or someone like that. It has to be, here is someone that I cover and I need to be as professional as possible. And, for the Cardinals credit, the Zoom era, it sucks, right? It sucks for the media. It sucks for PR. It sucks for the players. They've been so good at understanding that everyone is kind of hindered by this and being as open and as they communicate as much as they possibly can. So that's been really appreciated.
Very cool. So we've talked about your career. We've talked about how you got to St. Louis, but let's actually talk about St. Louis and the National League Central. All right. that's your expertise. That's your area that you cover.
Well, I hope it's my expertise. Otherwise, I'm in trouble.
So talk to us. Since you've started covering the Cardinals on a full-time basis, what is the one aspect of that team that excites you the most, and what is the one aspect that maybe concerns you a little bit?
I like the rotation. And if I would have said that 2 weeks ago, people would have been like, she's fired. I like the rotation. They have a lot of arms. They have a lot of options. They have a lot of talent coming up. And it's remarkable because in all of that, they still have Adam Wainwright, who is 39 years old and still pitching and still pitching well. We forget, it's very easy to forget that, pitchers in general all over baseball are going to take a little bit longer to get back up to speed after a 60-game season. The Cardinals were absolutely decimated by COVID last year, one of the worst outbreaks in baseball. That really affects pitchers too. If you think about it, they essentially made a fifth of their starts last year from the Cardinals' perspective. So it was going to take a while. And then obviously when KK went down early in the spring and Miles went down early in the spring, it kind of results in this mass panic. Like, oh my gosh, our rotation's already not good. We're relying on Wainwright. He's 50 years old. And we have two guys that we were projected to be in the rotation, so it's not going to be very good. And it did not look very good for the first 2 weeks. It was very concerning. But now you're seeing these guys go out there. They're, ramped back up. They're getting more comfortable. They're hitting their stride. And the rotation looks really good. KK's been great since he came back. I think Jack Flaherty I don't think he's touched the depth of how good he can be. I think there's a whole nother layer there for Jack. I like what I'm seeing from Carlos Martinez. And John Gant's been really impressive too. So I like the rotation. And when the rotation is as good as they can be, that saves their bullpen, which is probably their strongest part, so that they can be used effectively. Because before, the bullpen wasn't be able to use effectively. The starters couldn't go innings, so the bullpen had to just step in. And it was like, who can pitch today? Who's rested enough to go in there and give us 3 innings? Now that the starters are eating these innings and they're going longer in games like they're designed to, the bullpen is now being able to be used the way that it's supposed to. So it's this nice balancing effect where I'm really excited from that standpoint on where they can go. I'm concerned a little bit about the offense, but not where it's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I really like Dylan Carlson. I don't think we're talking about Dylan Carlson enough on a national stage. I think he's really one of the most underrated young players in baseball. Switch hitter, can play, he's not a natural center fielder, but he's fit in really well with Bader out. He gets a lot of protection in that 2-hole spot. When you're hitting in front of Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado, and at one point Yadier Molina, you're going to get a lot of pitches to hit, and he's been capitalizing on that. So that's been exciting. I like what Tommy Edmonds doing leadoff. It's the 6, 7, 8 spots that I'm worried about in the lineup. Justin Williams probably needs a day off at this point. We'll see. I mean, Tyler O'Neill has come back, and he's certainly tore the cover off the ball since being hurt. We'll see how Bader does. I know Bader's definitely more of a defensive outfielder than an offensive one. But if they can lock down the late lineup offense, I think they'll be a much more well-rounded team.
They do love Bader in St. Louis, don't they?
I haven't seen him play, so
there is an unnatural love for that gentleman in that city. But
I've heard.
Yes, absolutely. You will get a chance. So we talked about the Cardinals. You like what you see. You like what potential in the long run they have. Let's look at the National League Central. Right now it's bunched up, and it has been. 1 week someone's in first, and next week they're in last. Cardinals have tasted that a little bit. Give me a team or two that is worrisome for the Cardinals and their fan base if you're looking at them right now.
I think this whole division, minus the Pirates, I'm so sorry if there's any Pirates fans out there, maybe.
Well, we know a few. We know a few.
Yeah, we know a few.
We know one.
We know one good one.
They do exist, yes.
Well, my heart goes out to you.
We're gonna get emails, Katie.
I know, I'm sorry, but I mean it. I mean it.
He's already
texted me. He's already texted me.
I think that this whole NL Central, to go back to your point, Bob, it's what we saw in April, we're going to see all season long. I think the Cardinals are still a favorite by like that much to win the division. It's not, they're not the clear-cut favorite by any means. I don't think there is one. I think throughout the season, we're going to see this flip-flop between all 4 teams. I don't know how long the Cubs can last. But you can't obviously count them out right now. But But I think it's going to come down to the Brewers and the Reds and the Cardinals. And I think when we head into September, and I imagine the Cubs will be looming at some point. The Reds are kind of slept on, I think, but when they're healthy and they're locked in, they can hit and they're aggressive and they play with this chip on their shoulder like they have something to prove because they are the underdog in that division. The Cardinals are kind of, they're always in the mix at some point. The Brewers are very good too. And all these teams are evenly matched. So I think that, it'll go down to 162 on who's winning this division, maybe even 163. I hope not, for everyone's sake, for everyone's mental stability. But yeah, I think if the Cardinals are looking ahead, the division, the games they have to win and the series they have to win are against the Brewers and are against the Reds, 100%.
All right. So
go if you got a second. Can we go back to the Cardinals just for a second, Katie? Because I wanted to talk. We talked a little bit before we went online, a little bit about Matt Carpenter, right? You said you were working a little bit on something. I saw today he hit a 3-run home run off of Aaron Nola, which kind of hurt me a little bit. But what is, because he struggled. I mean, he got off to a really rough start in St. Louis this year. I think he was 3 for 43 or something to start the season. It wasn't a great start. What is the what is the word on Matt Carpenter right now in St. Louis?
I can almost understand the controversy that comes with Carp, but at the same time, I think it's really overblown. He's a different player, right? He's probably on the back end of his career. He's getting older. He's definitely been relegated to more of a bench role, pinch hitter role. And there was a lot of reason to be frustrated. I think he had a lot of bad luck when he was hitting the ball, but everyone is just like, well, just don't hit into shift. And I think that's such an asinine thing to say. How you can't just, everyone makes it sound like it's such an easy adjustment to not hit into the shift, right? Oh, just go the other way. It's that simple. Or bunt every time. Like, especially when you look at his spray chart, if you look at Carpenter, what he's done this year, he's hitting the ball the other way more. He just has the worst luck. He hits the ball hard, it's right at someone. He absolutely barrels. I mean, he's one of the league leaders in barrel percentage and exit velocity and all these stats that Cardinals fans are sick of hearing about. But statistically speaking, he should have much better results. So that's why I think it was a really cool moment for him, for Mike Schilt, for his teammates. Off that pinch hit home run where he was sitting curveball all the way and he got a hanger to capitalize on that. And the added dramatics of it going into Quinn's glove and then out. That was a really cool moment for Carpenter, a guy that has been struggling really hard, but has always showed up and answered our questions and has been honest and candid and as relatable as possible. That's really hard to do when you're struggling and there's such a spotlight on you. And I'm looking at the comments right here and it says Carp would be a great DH. I agree. If he can continue to put an emphasis more on less of the strikeouts that we're seeing, I think he's much better suited as a pinch hitting off the bat role or off the bench role that spot starts every now and then. I think that's what we'll see from Carpenter.
Very cool.
So you cover the Cardinals, but you also are a fan of Major League Baseball. We're still basically in the beginning of the season. We're still early. But who do you like? The people in our crowd who listen to us weekly, they're tired of hearing us talk, Katie, about who we like for the World Series, who's coming out of each division, who we think is going to end up MVP. So why don't you enlighten them? Right now, if you had to pick one team from the American League, one team from the National League, who's your World Series?
I don't know, because I know it's impossible, but I still feel like the World Series should be Dodgers Padres. Like there should, right? Like they should just make a rule. Like next year. I think the Dodgers, for all that they've done over the last decade, are still the favorite. But I don't know necessarily if they make it to the World Series because there's a very hungry team in San Diego ready to prove everybody wrong. It's been one of the most fun teams in baseball to watch. Certainly a huge difference from the Padres I covered in 2018. So I'm a little torn up there. My head says Dodgers. My heart says Padres. I don't know who I'd go National League. I just know that series when they play each other is going 7 for sure. For the American League, I mean, I don't know, because I think the most exciting team in the American League has been the Oakland A's. I just don't know if that's feasible. I mean, look, right. The Oakland A's are one of the most inappropriately slept on teams in baseball, and that's a product of their market. And I say that with as little Bay Area bias as possible. I think the A's are better than everybody thinks that they are. I don't know if they have the depth to go to the World Series. I think that their best chance was the last 2 years. I think their window is closing. So not sure. I'm not going to go A's, I don't think. I also don't feel comfortable going Yankees either. So I don't know. I don't have a pick for the American League. There is not one team.
Very
that's
non-committal,
like,
Katie. Very non-committal. I like it. So, had a question from the fans here who are watching. They want to know. They understand you dabbled in minor league baseball for a little bit. They want to know who are one or two prospects from both the American League and National League that maybe fans should be excited about seeing over the next 2-3 years coming up.
I think for as good as the Padres are, they still haven't unlocked. I mean, they have a nasty rotation. They haven't unlocked what is, widely agreed upon as the best pitching prospect in baseball, Mackenzie Gore. We've seen so many prospects debut in the last year over that 2020 season, and that's been so exciting to see these young guys come out and deliver. Dylan Carlson's been one. Nico Horner, right, for the Cubs. He's been, that's another guy. But I'm really excited to see what Gore does to that rotation. When you have a rotation that is Lamet, who is hurt or getting healthy, and when they have Clevenger back, they have Snell, they have Darvish. Brian Weathers, up until yesterday when he was pulled, has been great too. Mackenzie Gore, I think, will change baseball in what he's able to do. So that's when I'm excited. From a Cardinals perspective, they have Nolan Gorman, they have Liberator. I haven't spent any time at the alternate site yet. I've been trying to get as acquainted to the Major League team as much as possible, but I'm really excited for those top two prospects. The Cardinals know how to develop talent. If you have any questions, please don't kill me for this, Cardinals fans. Look up Randy Rosarena, right? Like, they can develop talent, but it's there. It's just holding on to it. But I don't see them parting with their top two prospects at all.
Katie's just losing fans with every word that comes out.
I know. And then I guess, I think I don't think I've given, there's so many good teams, but I don't think I've given the White Sox enough love.
You don't have to do that. Skip that.
Yeah, you're fine.
No, I think, they're like the American League version of the Padres. And look, I cover the National League, so I don't spend a lot of time on the American League unless it's interleague. But I'm really excited for that White Sox series because, there's the TLR angle managing against his own team. But the White Sox have so much fun, upcoming talent, and they're consistently slept on, I think. I think probably by 2022, they're in the national conversation a lot more than they should be.
Chris, is there something you'd like to add to that?
I'm looking at the chat, and you guys were really lighting me up about the White Sox. Good thing I said something.
There's one Sox fan in there. No, I agree. I think the Sox are. There was a lot of promise and hype around them heading into this year, and the Tony La Russa hire was extremely polarizing because of the way it went down, and I think it's still kind of we're not quite sure what this team is, especially after Eloy went down. So, it definitely is going to be, for the whole season, whether or not they can put it together, but there's flashes of brilliance there, but there's also some real ugly too, that keeps, showing itself every couple games. As a Sox fan, I just want them to take advantage of the division now because you don't have the Twins playing to the way they should be playing. So it's kind of like, this is the time to get ahead, but they're just not doing it. I think next year, a healthy Eloy Jimenez makes that lineup just absolutely disgusting if everybody's firing on all cylinders. But they have a depth issue this year. They really do. If they have anybody out of the lineup for even just a rest day, it's like an automatic out. The bench is not that strong. They still have some work to do. So, it'll be interesting. But I definitely consider them. I think the Padres is a great comparison. They're just not nationally as recognized as the Padres, and that's just coming from Chicago. That's how it's always been in Chicago for them.
Yeah, I think from the White Sox perspective too, Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's they still have to prove themselves, so they can say they have all this talent, they can say they're doing the right things, but because there hasn't been a lot of success in years prior, everyone from a national standpoint is like ready to write them off already, even though it's, April 29th. But I think the White Sox will be talking about for seasons to come. This year is probably their establishing year where they can see what do we need to improve on going into 22 when they make a push to be, one of the better teams in baseball.
Yeah. I actually look at like last year, making the playoffs was like a good thing and a bad thing for them because it put all that hype on them because nobody expected them to make the playoffs last year. And then obviously with how crazy everything was and they came out the gates hot. And this year it's kind of like the expectation is the same. And I think that, like you said, that is really unfair to do to them because they really haven't done this for 162 games yet. So, and, obviously you see guys like Giolito is off to a slow start and Hendricks has not exactly lived up to some Soxers will say he hasn't lived up to his contract. He's had some bad games. He's blown a few saves. So, yeah, I mean, it is one of those things that they do so have to prove to a lot of people that they're legitimate and they can put it together for 162 games.
Katie, who's the one team right now in Major League Baseball? And we'll stick with the National League since you don't really cover the American League. All right, we'll do that favor. Who's the one team in the National League right now who's struggling as we speak tonight?
Cubs.
Who's going to turn it around? No, don't lie. It's okay. Yeah, we all know that's not happening. So, yeah, who's the one team that's struggling right now? Who's going to turn it around by All-Star break?
I was wondering if this was a trick question, if you were like teeing up a Cub intro. I'm
a realistic Cub fan. All right, it's all right, okay. Katie. Yeah.
I'm wondering, can the Mets continue to be the Mets with DeGrom? Like, is this a realistic thing that they are doing? It's mystifying because the Mets should be so much better. And you have a once in a lifetime, once in a generation ace, and they can't do anything with it. Look, Mets fans, I am being cautiously optimistic that things will turn around because there's too much talent there. There's too much talent there for it to not.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like they should be approaching the status of juggernaut, and yet they're still struggling to even get out of the gate.
Well, they missed an opportunity because the Braves have a lot of injuries. They got out to a slow start. The Phillies were kind of up and down, and the Mets had a chance if they just played good out of the gate to get a nice little lead there and kind of carry it in. But now the Braves are starting to get a little bit healthier. They're starting to play better. Some of the young pitchers and their young players are starting to hit and pitch. And, they're going to have, we've talked about that division before. That's going to be one of the toughest divisions in baseball. It's just so competitive from top to bottom. Every team in that division. I think, like we said last week a little bit, the Nationals are a team that I think it might be time for them. I think it's time that you're going to.
I would agree.
Actually, Katie, what do you think of the Max Scherzer in St. Louis prediction this summer? Do you think that's something that we could see?
I mean, I'm going on this with really no inside knowledge. This is just me speculating, but Scherzer's from St. Louis. They have a veteran guy in Wainwright, but obviously if there's a chance to get Scherzer, you take it. I think the Nationals, if they continue projecting down this line, they're going to be sellers. And it would make sense. And I hope that all these Nationals fans aren't getting upset that I'm not saying that they will. I'm not saying that, buy Scherzer, but I'm saying if the Nationals aren't going to come close to turning it around, it makes no sense. They should. And I expect the Cardinals to be one of many teams in that mix.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a possibility, I think.
So now we've had Katie on here about 45 minutes. She's been gracious with her time. I promised her I would get her out of here before 8 o'clock because she has an article she has to work on tonight.
Now the hard-hitting journalism, guys.
But before we leave, we want to do 5 questions with Katie. All right? You kind of answered a couple of them already, but favorite team growing up?
It was the Giants. 100%, no doubt about it. I remember every time the Cardinals came in the postseason, I would be like, not this team again, because they were so good. And they were scary. So, yeah, definitely Giants fan growing up. But since I started being a reporter, all I root for are sub 3-hour games and no injuries. That's all I really care about.
Favorite stadium you've been to?
I think it's probably a tie just for views between Oracle Park and Petco Park, 2 of the most beautiful parks in baseball. For nostalgia, the Coliseum, but, that's not a sightly place.
Regardless of what stadium, the favorite ballpark food that you love when you go to the said stadium?
I'm a corn dog enthusiast. Okay, there is nothing better than that for me. But I'm finding that they're not always like there's limited concessions open, and corn dogs did not make the cut for whatever reason. And I just want to know who I have to talk to make that change. It's unacceptable.
Oh, that is great. All right. You have a chance to interview any sporting figure. Doesn't have to be baseball. We don't want to pigeonhole. Any sporting figure in the world today. Who are you interviewing?
Phil Nicholson, ASU guy, one of the most exciting golfers. I play golf not well, but I would love to just pick Phil Mickelson's brain about life for 20 minutes. See what he's about.
That would be a great interview. And last question before we let you go: favorite baseball movie of all time?
Of all time, it's got to be A League of Their Own. Excuse me, I'm literally dying. Or The Sandlot. I don't know. Now that I said I've got to be. Probably those two. I don't watch a lot of movies, but those two always 100% will get me. They're just they're classics.
Yeah, they are.
Better.
In their own
those are easily top 5. I think for anybody.
100%.
Anybody that knows good baseball movies, those are easily top 5.
Yeah, I'll agree. I'll agree there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. Well, Katie, we want to thank you very much for taking your time. We know you just got into St. Louis and you're getting things settled. You don't even have furniture, for the love of God. So,
I see it in the box. It's right there. I just got to set it up.
But you are have been very gracious with your time tonight. We appreciate it, and you are always welcome back whenever you'd like. And,
guys, this is so much fun.
Yeah.
I love doing it.
Why don't you let everybody know if they don't already? Where can they follow you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at KatieJWoo. That's KatieJWoo. And then on Instagram, it's at KathJWoo. A little different. I think it is. Yeah, it is. It's KathJWoo. And then on The Athletic, please subscribe if you haven't. That's where you can find all my stories and all my work. And if you do subscribe to The Athletic, we are doing a live Q&A session tomorrow at 1:00 Central Time. My first one. So that should be exciting, too.
Awesome. And if the Cardinals make it to the World Series, we would hope that you need assistance to go with you.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, just throwing that out there. But no,
I think it's only like an 8-hour drive for me, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I'll meet you guys at Ballpark Village. We'll have a great time.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. But yeah, once again, thank you very much for joining us. Good luck with everything and your new endeavor with St. Louis Cardinals and the Athletics. And like I said, you're welcome on the show anytime you'd like.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was a lot of
awesome.
fun. Well,
Thanks a lot.
I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that was a hell of a lot of fun, right?
Always. Absolutely.
Yeah. I just love her knowledge of the game, not only of today's game, but from the past coming up and even the future with prospect talk and that. She's such a good, just knowledgeable interview. She could come on every single time we hit go on the camera. So
Bob, I'm proud of you that you made it through all that Cardinals talk. It had to be breaking your heart.
I'm not gonna lie, I had cramps ripping through my stomach and chest and that, and but it was okay. Sometimes,
Chris, I almost expected to see a Cardinals hat on him when we went live tonight, but
whoa, there are limits. Yeah. So.
Had I thought of that, I probably would have done that. I once signed up for a credit card at Miller Park to get a free Brewers hat just to irritate my Cubs fan brother-in-law who came with us that day.
See, I always pegged you as a jerk, and now these stories that keep coming out. Yeah. I was right in my assessment of you. Absolutely. So, yeah. Anyways, all right.
So yeah,
you want to talk?
Go ahead.
Rosters or what?
Well, we're gonna wait till the 8 o'clock. We're gonna have a couple things coming up around 8 o'clock. We have a guest joining us right after the 8 o'clock hour. So, until then, what have you guys been doing? What have you been playing?
I've been playing Clean the Vomit Up Off the Floor. It's a really fun game. Oh man, I played it 3 times this week.
Sounds like a great time.
Yeah, I played it.
Bob, you're not supposed to throw up on the floor. Stop doing that. Then you don't have to clean it up. Stop drinking too so much.
Yeah, and just I like to throw like life hints out for people. If your little boy says, Dad, my stomach doesn't feel good. Don't go ahead and give them Doritos and hot dogs for dinner, because inevitably you'll be cleaning up that Dorito and hot dog. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been spending obviously hours in the stadium creator. Let's not fool each other.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that as we segue into what we're going to do. So what have you been doing?
Well, myself, I am taking my creation level to another level up, if you will. And what I mean by that is I started working on the Kingdome, I started working on Candlestick, I started working on Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, 3 of my favorite stadiums of all time, non-Cub stadiums. So much history, so much tradition, so many memories in all 3 of those. And so I just wanted to work on them. And I have found the longer I stay within the program, the more I figure out how to use it, how to manipulate things, how to tweak things. You know, you can come pretty damn close to creating some, like, the damn candlestick I put out last night. I ripped that son of a bitch down today.
Why?
All down. Because I wasn't happy with it. That's why. I kept looking at it, and I was like, I don't like this. It's close, but I don't like it. So I ripped it all down today.
I know. So the Kingdome, Candlestick. I think I saw Fulton County, right? How many stadiums have you created? How many classic stadiums have you created yourself?
Just those 3. I wanted to give myself 3 as a kind of an entry, if you will, into the creator's tool and allow myself to use it. I honestly have about 40 hours in the stadium creator now. That's
really?
No lie. Yep, about 40 hours. Yesterday, between the kids cleaning up and being sick and all that, I spent the majority, because I just got done doing an article for Operation Sports, and I wanted to go deeper than what other people have. Other people have just been superficial to a degree in what they like about it, what they don't like about it. So, I told myself, I'm going to write this 3,000 word piece for Operation Sports. I'm going to know what I'm talking about. All right. I want to know, when I tell someone why I like it, I want to tell them why with detail. If I tell them why I don't like something or what the stadium creator needs, I need to be able to have the depth and factual details behind that to explain that. And I figured, as hard as it was, with about 40 hours in, I could now write that article and feel good about what I put in that article. Yeah.
So what do you like? What are the great things about it, and what are the things that you don't like about it?
Well, first and foremost, I'm going to say something here that may not make a ton of sense to you young cats, and that's fine. You're lucky that it doesn't. But when I fired up the Stadium Creator, and I finished, and now keep in mind, I've seen a better version or a couple better versions of the Kingdome out there than what I've done. So I'm not claiming to be the best. That's not what this is about. But when I fired up the Kingdome, and then especially Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, there are memories that were conjured up, real memories of watching teams play in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium on TV at a superstation growing up as a kid. When I threw out the Kingdome, I mean, it is impossible to look at the Kingdome and not think of Griffey Jr. in the 95 series against the Yankees. It was one of the greatest playoff series in my mind that I've ever seen. And when I'm sitting there taking batting practice in that fictitious Kingdome I created, I could almost hear the crowd and how loud they were during that series. And then obviously Candlestick Park. I mean, the Cubs lost out there, had a rough 89 series against the Giants, and then you go on and you have obviously the earthquake that year. So many good teams. Plus, it's a shareable stadium. So it's like 2 stadiums in one. Old Candlestick Park. It literally is. They're a shared home with the 49ers for many years, and so many great people that have walked through that stadium. So many great memories that have been made there. So yeah, that's it for me. That's really what it is. It's about recreating a piece of history that otherwise wouldn't be available. Keep in mind, when all the games that are realistic that came about, like MVP in those games, yeah, there are some historical rosters, but for fans of teams that and players that I grew up watching, Sandberg and Say and all those guys, and Jody Davis and Leon Durham and Bobby Denier. That was that '84 team. That was my team. All right, that was the team that I grew up on and loved. Made me fall in love with Chicago Cubs baseball. I never had a baseball video game ever that was able to present that team in the way that kids do now. So being able to see those stadiums in this detail, this level of detail, this level of immersion, it sounds corny, but there is a high level of nostalgia that smothered me when playing in those stadiums. That's it for me. What about you, Christopher?
Well, I can't say mine's not going to be nearly as good as yours because I don't really have nostalgia like that. I mean, the only stadium that I ever really grew up in is still standing, and I still go to it. So, no, it's awesome though. I mean, learning how to use it. I've spent a lot of time in there now, and saving is important. Remember that. So you don't work 2.5 hours plus and forget to save and the game crashes on you. But just learning how to manipulate things. It's similar to like if anybody has ever done any type of building in like I almost want to say like I don't want to say Minecraft but like Fallout 76. That's very similar to that. Where you learning how to clip things into one another to kind of create stuff that maybe isn't necessarily available to you in the game. I know I had shared. I'm currently doing the Charlotte Knights home ballpark, Truist Park, and I spent hours trying to manipulate behind home plate. They have like a restaurant suite type club area behind home plate, and there just is nothing that looked that way. And after hours and hours and hours of just like going back and forth of putting something there, kind of like you said, Bob, and like going back to it, being like, screw this, and just blowing it up and redoing it. I just did out of all like little tiny prefab stuff and just constructed walls and constructed, the floor and the seating. And I, use the light poles as actual support beams and just hide the lights inside you just learn how to manipulate stuff and create what you're looking for. I mean, the game surprisingly, like the frustrations of not being able to get something to look like itself normally, I feel like that would be a turnoff, but I actually find it like the challenge itself of trying to build it has been fun. Like, how can I get it to look more like the actual thing, as opposed to just, like getting angry and being like, well, I can't do it because it's not available.
Right.
But yeah, it's fun. I definitely look forward to completing what I'm doing. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll give old Comiskey a try. I mean, it's a little tougher for me because I've never been to either. I haven't been to Truist and I've never been to Comiskey. So it's really just going off of photos, and there really is no memory there. So it's a little tough, but I love the challenge. I think it's great. It's a great addition. I really hope that they're able to add to this this year. I know that's probably wishful thinking. I'm not sure if they have that capability, but just to add additional items down the road, patch them in or something. If that's possible, I would love to see that. If not, as far as like moving forward, this is an amazing feature to the game. It's only going to that should only get better.
Right. I think there are basic things, superficial things that we're going to look at, not only from your and my perspectives, but from the community. Things like, logo attachments that allow us to place logos within the stadium. Obviously dome-style stadiums, retractable roof stadiums. Hey, maybe we could play a game at night in one of our created stadiums. That'd be exciting, right? And it goes deeper than that. Like someone just brought up a water cooler or a different type of, things like that. And they'll get to those. And I don't care. I'll be honest. I'll say I don't care if it's DLC. I'll happily pay for it. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, they have the stub system built into the game. They could easily turn around and do it that way.
Yeah. Yep,
Hey guys, real
absolutely.
quick, I just want to give a shout out to Just Plain Rich for subscribing.
Yeah.
Thank you for becoming a 5-tool fan. Just Plain Rich, we appreciate the support. Thank you.
Someone else, you know what, and I hated this. Someone else subscribed earlier, and I was in the middle of talking with Katie, and I didn't get a chance. So if I missed you, I do apologize. I know, Chris, you're hard looking at your desk, so you probably didn't get a chance to see it either. But
Yeah, we appreciate.
I
all
saw
you
it, but
guys.
it was a gifted sub, I believe.
okay. So, but absolute, that's
And Mr. Diesel just subscribed.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Diesel.
So,
we
thank you.
appreciate it. Mr. Diesel, the newest 5-tool fan for the Down at the Dugout show. We appreciate the support, guys. It's awesome. We love doing this for you guys. We're having a lot of fun, as you guys can tell. We had Katie on. That was a lot of fun. We've had some great guests over the last few weeks. Roflo and Ozzie Guillen Jr. Just so many great people that we've got to talk baseball with over the last few months, and it's gonna get better and better. We've got a lot more fun things lined up. We've got some really cool things lined up in the next couple weeks. The next couple weeks are going to be very exciting for a lot of this community. Obviously, the game's been out now for a couple weeks. What do you guys? Obviously, the frustration is still out there. Obviously, with the server issue, I know is still ongoing, and some of the roster vault issues. But besides that, anything different with the game that you guys are feeling, or
I haven't played it.
Play anymore? We got another 5-tool fan.
Oh, thank you.
Gate
5-tool
Move
fans
33.
everywhere tonight.
Yep, 5-tool fans all
Contagious.
over the place. We've got 5-tool fans, and then we've just got tools like us. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Hey, Kenny Mack is coming on. We're going to talk a little bit of NFL draft coming up here.
oh yeah,
And
we got
can
drafts.
can I tell you one thing real quick? And I know I'm monopolizing the airspace, and I apologize. But last night, I had one of the coolest things that ever happened in my life. Ozzie Guillen on Twitter saw one of the stadiums and said, hey, let's get together, let's play some MLB show on the PS5, and let's talk baseball in the chat. And I was like, absolute, because you guys know I fell in love with him the other night. Fell in love with him. Absolute amazing guy. And, I don't take that stuff for granted. I don't. They're normal people. They're everyday people. I get that. But they also have so many people in and out of their lives, and they're so busy. So when they take time to do something like that, it means a lot to me. It's and I just wanted to give him a shout out because that's incredible of him, and I just love him, and I can't wait to talk baseball with him.
Solo Bounty gifted a couple subscriptions out to Cardiac Cardinals. Again,
you.
Mike is our mod in our chat, so we appreciate what Mike does for us. Obviously, he's got a fantastic channel. He's streaming a Cardinals franchise, Cardiac Cardinals. I think Darren, you probably enjoyed tonight's show. Being a Cardinals fan, you had to really enjoy that because we had a lot of Cardinals talk, so that was fun. It's pretty cool. We're gonna get around the league, around the National League and American League over the next couple months with different writers from different publications and some national, some local, and just talk different teams. Because it's fun to just get a different perspective from a beat writer on a team, and it was just really, really nice to hear a Cardinals writer's perspectives on the Cardinals players, and I think Cardinals fans probably really enjoyed that. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, we appreciate you guys supporting us. So let's move on a little bit. We're going to continue to talk MLB The Show for the next hour. Obviously, the big thing is rosters, and we're going to give you guys a little bit of an update shortly on that. But we've also got a little bit of something else we're going to talk about soon. Bob, did you just get that message I sent you?
I'm paying attention to what you're talking about. I don't look at the phone. That's rude. It's rude. So
that's unfortunately how we communicate here.
I was engaged in your comment. Let me look.
Behind the scenes stuff, Bob. Come on.
Can you if you can get that out?
Kenny,
right
are you
now.
ready for your team to let you down? I'm totally
Kenny,
ready for the Bears to let me
I
down.
heard the Jets just traded for Aaron Rodgers. No, just kidding.
I'd be okay with that. Let's be honest. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah,
I'd be fine. Yeah, I'm just looking right now. The Jags are on the clock, and I'm just waiting for how the Jets are going to ruin my life for the next 3 years, because we'll be in the same position, second or first pick in 3 years when whoever they pick as their quarterback doesn't do well. So
History would
Kenny,
say those words are correct. Yep.
Kenny, as you got the draft on there, keep us updated as the picks roll in.
absolutely, you got it.
Hold on, guys. I'm sending out an invite that Scott doesn't want to, so he makes me do all the work. Dun, 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 dun.
And just in case, I do have my Curtis Martin jersey on. This is the first jersey that I bought as it has the starter logo for you young kids. Starter.
I remember that.
Yes.
That Curtis Martin starter jersey. That was a popular jersey back in the day.
My favorite Martin, or Martian, I should say. Sorry, my wife kind of. Come here.
No,
What do you got?
I just want to say hi.
Okay.
We were like,
My wife just came home and wanted to say hello. So
she's got to jump on camera.
Yeah.
they want you to jump on camera.
That's how this works, Mrs. Mack.
They want you to jump on camera.
for what?
They said this is how it works, Mrs.
That's how it
Macklin.
works. Everybody's wife has to jump on camera and wave. There you go. All right.
There you go.
She's a Five-Tool fan now.
You're a five-tool fan now.
What?
You're a five-tool fan.
What?
I'll explain it later.
Yeah, explain that later, because that almost sounds something negative. So
Yeah, I know. That's why she looked at me. Yep,
Yeah.
I got it.
she's like, enjoy
I'll
something.
pay for that.
All right. So let me explain what's going on now. So obviously you guys know we've been hard at work on the full minors rosters for the last couple weeks since the game released, and obviously we also know there's issues with the vault. We know nothing can be downloaded as of yet. So I know some people are expecting, they're gonna release the rosters tonight. They're gonna obviously we can't release the rosters. The vault's not fixed, right? I would anticipate, the vault at some point shortly being fixed. And when it is fixed, obviously our first priority is to get these rosters out to you guys. I will tell you this, the rosters are very close to completion. The rosters will be complete within the next few days. And again, few days could be 3 days, 4 days, 2 days. We've got some work to do, but we have long ball luck. Josh joining us right now. Josh, thanks for jumping on with us.
Josh,
thanks, guys.
yeah, hold on. Before we even get into that, Josh is now my favorite guest we've ever had on. Ever.
Yeah. Cool.
Bar none. You don't even have to say a word, Josh. You're yep. I love that, but please go ahead. I apologize.
But the reason I have Josh joining us tonight is that me and Josh kind of partnered up a little bit with some other guys in the community, and I was kind of watching Josh on Twitter. I don't know if you guys are following him, but Josh, you want to give your Twitter handle out there? It's at Long Ball Luck, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Long ball luck or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. And he's been making some crazy, awesome stadiums, and realistic minor league stadiums, and just doing a tremendous job. So one of the things that I thought of, and I went to a couple people and I said, hey, do you think we could do this? And, went to Josh, we talked a little bit about it. We got a few other people involved, but we're actually working to bang out as close to as many as we can of all the 30 AAA stadiums and some AA stadiums in there as well, to release the same time as MLB The Show, full minors, the full minors rosters 21 that we're going to release. So
let's restate that. Not only are you guys releasing the full minors roster, but to coincide with that roster, your goal is to have all 30 AAA stadiums and a few AA stadiums peppered in there as well as a package. Is that correct?
Yep. Oh yeah, we're going to blow it up. Yeah.
Good
God.
I
mean, we know there's server issues right now, so we expect there to be major server issues that night. So we want the vault to be, we're going to basically drop all these stadiums at one time in the vault. So the rosters are going to hit the roster vault, and the 30 stadiums or 35 stadiums or how many we have completed at the time, which we're hoping to have as many as we possibly can. We're going to drop all these at once, stadium vault and in the roster vault. So you guys can go get your rosters, and you can go get your minor league stadiums to throw in your franchise. So, being a franchise guy, obviously we're all franchise guys here. I think that's a pretty big deal, right? I don't know if you guys got to see some of the creations, but Josh, you want to talk a bit about some of the stadiums that you've created and some of them that are out there on your Twitter? I know the last one I believe I saw was the Durham Bulls Park, right?
Yeah. First of all, guys, hey, thanks for having me. Fan of the show, and love what you're doing and all the content that you guys are providing. It's top notch. Yeah, as far as the stadiums go, I've knocked out a couple. I've done the Las Vegas ballpark. We've done the Durham Bulls. Let's see, what else have I done? I've done Toledo Mud Hens over there. And, and we're continuing to just, punch out as many as we possibly can. It's just fun, right? You know what I mean? As far as going back and, it was actually Frisk who changed our game a little bit or whatever. We were, pulling up Google and jumping on, photos and looking at, 8 tabs of different angles of the stadium and trying to punch out as, many of these stadiums as we possibly could. And he's like, hey, check out this video of all of the, all the minor league, the AAA ballparks or whatever. And went through all of them and did an aerial camera through it. And while doing the aerial camera, I was watching the video and I noticed, it's like, hey, all of these pictures are coming from the Google Earth. And so it was like, I'm like, wait a minute, like that, that's the best way to do it. So I got into Google Earth and, and you can, drop right into the ballpark and do a 360, panoramic view of the entire stadium and get a look. And now it's like, you've got every angle, and with the tools that are provided in the Stadium Creator, it's a matter of just trying to get as creative as possible to try to match, everything that you see and make as much of a replica as you possibly can. But we've got some great talent out there, and the team that Scott has formed with me or whatever is knocking out some serious, content, and it's going to be exciting, guys. With the rosters and the stadiums, it's top notch for franchise players out there. The community's going to love it.
Well, I've seen your work, and it looks like the stadium or the developers created these stadiums. It's top notch. It's awesome. But I want to talk to you specifically because Chris and I have already talked about our love, and Kenny has thrown in his love of the Stadium Creator. I want to hear your thoughts since you now have worked extensively within this creation tool. What are your thoughts on it?
It needs a little work, obviously, but for as many years as we've been asking for this, this is acceptable. It's a platform in which, I think that they gave us enough tools for the creators to, do the best that they, you see the creations that we're making, and Bob, you've worked with it or whatever, and you're pushing out some serious, cool stuff.
Thank you.
But it's the artistic skill, right? So it's a matter of like taking what you see and then being able to manipulate some of the things that have been given to you and, coming up with the best version or, hybriding pieces or whatever and, and combining the two to get the best visual that you possibly can get. And for me, I have a little bit of an art background. I actually went to school initially for architectural design and, and CAD and all of that or whatever. And I changed my degree later, but so I appreciate the structural content stuff or whatever, and the numbers and all of that or whatever. But the art graphic stuff or whatever is key. And being able to take something and merge it with another and creating something that pleases the eye is what I'm doing. With a lot of the tools that are given for a first shot at Stadium Creator. Can we ask for anything better? I don't know if you can. There's enough stuff there that you really can create some amazing things as we see on, all the different platforms like Twitter and things like that. And, I'm just a guy who enjoys to play with it or whatever, but there's some talent out there or whatever that's just, bar none and they're killing it. And so, it's like, do what you can and whatever, make the best that you can and it's pleasing to the eye. So.
Yeah, I agree. When they actually patch in a search function in the vault, stadium vault, that'll really help because you're right. There's some amazing talent, and if you spend any time at all within this creator, it can be daunting at first. But then, as you stated, you start to learn how to navigate, how to manipulate, how to do these things, and you truly appreciate the tools that they really do. There's a high level of minutia that is included in this stadium creator. It's not a superficial tool at all. We all have a wish list of things that we want included later on, but yeah, I am in love, and that brings me to a segue to the next question. You're out here creating stadiums, brother, but do you take the time to play in these stadiums, or do you move on right to the next one?
Yeah. Well, right now I'm moving on to the next one. I guess we're pumping them out. But I like to, once I'm completed with the stadium or whatever, at least jump into some BP and, just hit some balls or whatever. And when the ball's in the air, what are you seeing?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
things like that or whatever. And so, it looks good when you're doing the panoramic, like the camera angles or whatever, and you're zooming through with the the highlighter or whatever. But when you're actually, be at home plate or whatever, and you're smacking balls around, sometimes it's like you just have to step back and like, man, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like that looks amazing. I know, a lot of guys, that are going to download these stadiums are going to really enjoy the content, and the visual that they have or whatever when they're playing with these ballparks. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool tool to have or whatever. Yes, there are things that we can add to it or whatever that are going to make it great. But I mean, I really can't complain right now with it, man. It's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome.
Got a question from the crowd here. Javi Baez, and I love him. I'm not sure if it's the real Javi Baez, but
well, hopefully,
Let's hope
it is.
They might both be together right now.
It's gonna be awesome.
Let's go.
Yeah, they very well could both be together right now. He wants to know, well, all of this content that we're talking about, Scott or Chris, the rosters and the stadiums, will this be available only on the PS5 or will Xbox? What?
This is going to be on every. The rosters will be on every console.
Mm-hmm.
PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, all the different consoles. Obviously the stadium are next gen, so they're exclusive to next gen. So that that is the one drawback to the this whole package thing that we're putting together. And again, this was just an idea that we came up with because obviously we want to get these rosters out to you guys as soon as possible, and in a little bit we're going to announce a time frame where you guys should expect to see these rosters.
Whoa! Stop the train, or should I say, start the train? Hype train.
Well, we could wait. I mean, if you want to wait till next week, we could announce.
Yeah, these guys. I haven't even seen anyone mention.
Yeah, you're right.
I haven't seen it either.
I mean, nobody cares anyway, so we'll just wait till the weekend's over. We'll talk about it next week.
Can we talk what's really important? Kenny, you've been sitting in here for 15 minutes, brother, and you haven't even given us an update on the NFL draft. And you damn well know we have vested interest in what's going on. Where are we at?
No one's picked yet. I'm looking. The Jags are still on the clock.
Well,
How hard is it to pick Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Move on. Who cares about the Jags? I'm sorry about any Jags fans out there. But I really don't care what you guys are doing. The next pick is where my heart is at and where my anxiety is at. So I apologize. I've also been doing a couple different things. I told you I went back into my creative stadium, obviously to curve people's natural gas. I've essentially done what you did, Bob. I ripped it down and started it over. I got serious issues. The whole thing, serious issues. I think I need to just make it and move on, and not do anything else.
But that's a great point. You can't just make it and move on. At least that's where I'm struggling. Lombard was just talking. Josh, I was just talking. Last night I spent 8 hours on Candlestick. This morning I wake up, I look at it, I'm like, and I just ripped it down, almost down to the ground again. And I was like, no, I'm not going to build this thing and just have it be half-assed. Can't do it, won't do it.
You don't want to do that. Yeah. Who wants that? Especially if guys are going to be critiquing you later on.
Yep.
I'm just saying, some guys are a little critical of.
Yeah, I understand. Josh, we have a question. I want you to answer this if you could, buddy. SPH2469. Nice. He wants to know, obviously the game doesn't really give us an option for artificial turf from the 60s, 70s, and 80s that was so popular. They do give us synthetic grass, and it looks okay depending on what the pattern. Is there a trick that you've learned in your time to make it look a little different or make it shine a little more like artificial turf, or you just rolling with what they have?
I mean, yeah, as far as the field aspect or whatever, it's kind of, you're stuck with what they offer. I mean, I don't know how you would, manipulate that at all or whatever. If I guess if you enclose the stadium a little bit or whatever, it would give it a darker appearance if that's
Right.
what you're trying to go for or whatever. But I mean, I think it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. When I enclose the Kingdom, I use tile on top, and obviously you can only take it up to the walls,
Right.
down on the field. But you're right. When I was taking batting practice there, the shine on the helmet, on Chris Bryant's helmet during BP, looked like dome lighting, and the shine on the turf looked like AstroTurf, not synthetic turf. But I don't know of a way other than lighting to manipulate that at this point.
Yeah, I think the big thing is, I mean, obviously, when the stadium creator was first announced, everybody was super excited, and then there was a lot of, how deep is it going to be? We've talked about this, a few times here already, but it's much deeper than we anticipated, right? And I think, a couple months ago, if we knew we were going to have stadium creator and we were going to have all these, crazy tools at our disposal and be able to make these stadiums, and I mean, how big of an addition is that we could actually play a franchise that we're going to have minor league stadiums in your franchise? I think that's awesome. And I mean, Kenny, you created a AA stadium, I believe, that we're gonna release AA stadiums with this too. I'm not gonna say we're gonna have 30 AA and 30 AAA to release at the day the rosters comes out, but our goal is at some point in the near future to have 30 AA and 30 AAA stadiums available for everybody to use within your franchise. Obviously, you are only going to be able to use 30 of those at once, so however you want to split it up and use 15 and 15 or 30 AA or 30 AAA, that would be up to you. But Kenny, you created the Altoona Curve Stadium, I believe, right?
Absolutely, and working on it again right now.
Oh, so tell us a little bit about that. How was the process creating that, and what have you liked and what have you not liked?
I can't say I disliked anything. I think being able to use your own imagination and figure out certain things and manipulating things just trying to figure out, okay, if I put this on top of this, will it look like it's supposed to? So one of the things with Altoona Curve, People Natural Gas Stadium, is the roller coaster out in right field. There isn't really a roller coaster, but it also has a Ferris wheel and some other things. So my first envision was, okay, if I can put this there and then put things on top of it to kind of layer it to take away from the long boardwalk and things like that. So that's really the intriguing. And I think from an artistical standpoint, which I am not, it's just fun being able to create that. And then the worst part is being how I am, going into batting practice and taking one swing and saying, oh, nope, I don't like it, and going back and, moving the tree to the left, or moving, the flagpole, the American flagpole to the left a little bit. So that's where I'm at right now. And I've spent way too many hours on this, as my wife is constantly saying, are you even going to play a baseball game yet? Or are you going to continue? Because the music, is the ambiance of that music is on.
Yeah.
And she's
Which I
like,
actually found out you can change. I think you can actually change it.
Yes, you can, but I can only listen to Onyx so many times at 10 o'clock at night. Well, I should say my wife can only listen to Onyx, as so many times at night. But either way, the whole product that they put out in their first year of this has just been remarkable. Guys are just doing some really, really amazing things. And as Frisk, he's the one who created this whole monster, and that sneak peek that he put out on release day. The whole thing is just great. I love it.
Well, Frisk brought up a really excellent point the other night. A lot of people are really unhappy right now with the way that RTTS has unfolded so far this year. I don't want to speak on it, and I can't because I haven't tried it. I've been stuck inside the damn stadium creator every day. But what I love about what you guys are doing in creating the AAA and AA stadiums is this. If you truly do want to do player lock of a young prospect that's in AA, and you want to play his way up through the AA and AAA systems until he's called up, How awesome is that? I mean, seriously, you're playing in the real stadiums that he's going to play in. I mean, it just the immersion level just shoots through the damn roof, and I mean that has to be you guys are creating, and yeah, I'm doing classic retro stadiums. Great, they're fun. It's what I love. But what you guys are doing in creating these double and triple A stadiums is you guys are really creating this ecosystem, this whole ecosystem that's going to allow people to just dive into this game on a level that we've never even thought of. Let's be honest, really. Even we've had the same damn minor league stadiums with a few new ones peppered in, and they've explained why. These stadiums take forever to build, forever for a developer. All right, and they don't want to do it. It's not profitable. It doesn't have any return to it, and they only do it as a favor to us fans. And so now they've given us the tools, and we've talked about this before, for people like you. Oh, we got to pick. Hold on. Shut up, Bob.
Pick is in. Jags take Trevor Lawrence.
What?
Shocker.
Oh.
Come on.
Wow. Didn't see that coming from anywhere. Yeah.
I
Sorry.
heard
took them 9 minutes.
the Jags may end up having a new tight end in the near future. Did you guys see that today?
No.
I did see that.
Really?
Even
They're
worked
crazy
out
for
the Jags
even
today?
entertaining it.
As in his new position at tight end was Tim Tebow.
Tebow. Yeah.
Listen, it took how many years for him to really figure out, okay, maybe I should play tight end or H-back or something else. I mean, come on. You know, he could have done this a long time ago and had a profitable career, long career. The kid is a stud. I mean, he went out and played baseball, albeit, not the greatest, but he still played baseball. I don't care how good he was. If you can do two sports on a national, or I'm sorry, on a professional level, you have something. Go play another position. I don't know. Just blew my mind.
No matter what, you got to say. I mean, the Jags are going to be very entertaining. Having Lawrence, if they do sign Tebow as a tight, I mean, they're going to be much more entertaining than they've been in the past. So
yeah,
should be interesting to see how that all plays out.
I just want to throw this out real quick. Be More Jack in the chat. Want to know who's building War Memorial Stadium? Obviously, Baltimore Stadium before they built Camden, which I love Camden, but there was something.
Sounds like you, Bob.
It is.
You're the classic guy.
You just answered it.
I just want to let them know. Not that my work is the best or that there's no one out there better than me. I don't mean it that way, but after I'm done with Candlestick, which should be by 2023, I am working on Exhibition, Olympic, and then War Memorial.
Awesome.
Yep. And then I think once we get through those three, if I still have a love, we're moving up to Minneapolis, where there's a certain stadium that now sits under the ruins of the Mall of America that has a lot of sentimental value. I think we're going to start working on. And those are, to me, a little simpler to do than Candlestick. Yeah, Candlestick will make you want to drink. So who's next? For those of us who don't have eyes on the TV or may not follow football, though I do, who's next on the clock? Can you let the fans know there?
Jets.
Oh, I may have already known that answer, but I just wanted to.
You just wanted to hear me say it.
I did.
It's a great segue to my chant. I appreciate that.
So. Let's see. Michael Stack says the problem with stadiums, there's no way to get to 10,000. You have to click 10,000 times. It's so bad. One thing I wish they would add is I've run it, and maybe you guys haven't run into this dealing with minor league stadiums, but the limit for fans per stadium is 60,000. And when you're trying to build a stadium like Candlestick, that is such an odd configuration. It really is problematic. I'll just say that. So hopefully they up that a little bit. Don't need it much, maybe 65, 68,000, and there shouldn't be any issue with creating any stadium. So, yeah.
No, it's going well. We have a group of I don't know, what is it, 7 guys maybe. A couple more hopefully joining us in the next day or two to help. Some of the guys that we have working on are doing 1 or 2 stadiums. Others like Josh here has been, he's been banging out a bunch. So it just everybody's a little bit different. But yeah, if anybody out there is interested in helping join our project, then wants to help us get these stadiums complete, reach out to one of us on social media or throw it in the chat here. We'd love to love to have you help us out. We if you have a stadium that you built or you want to build, let's get involved and let's get this thing rolling. We have about what do you think, Josh? How many we have complete so far total?
I think we're roughly at about 11.
Okay.
I know in the progress, as far as progress goes, we're about halfway through as far as that goes. So we're looking at about 14, 13 more stadiums to do. So the more help, the better.
Yep.
I've seen some awesome creators out there, or whatever. So if you want to, display your work at the with us or whatever, I mean, we would be more than glad to have you. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a fun project. It's going to be, it's going to bring much more realism to the game. Obviously, the stadiums in franchise mode for the the minor league teams. It's honestly, being a baseball fan, a lover of minor league baseball, it's a dream come true to see all these these stadiums being created in the game for us to be able to actually play. Not just have the name of the stadium or anything like that. And again, they're fan made, they're made by us and the creator, but they look great. Some of them are just they're just fantastic. So it's amazing that this fast period of time that you guys were actually able to master that creator as much as you have. It just makes you wonder what we're going to be doing with that creator a couple months from now. So it's so many possibilities with it. But yeah, definitely a lot of fun. And I think we definitely have to give Sony San Diego credit. I mean, I know everybody wants to complain about certain things, and obviously there's server issues and there's different things going on right now. But it was a different launch. They went to a new platform. It was a big launch. A lot more players playing the game now than ever been playing the game. And so I think we need to cut them a little bit of slack. I'm sure we'll be finding out what's going on shortly, and then we'll all be playing the game through the summer. But they've given us a great game. I mean, let's face it, there's some shortcomings in certain areas, and I think we've talked about that before, but Stadium Creator is a fantastic addition to the game, and it, just from all different aspects. I mean, I literally go on to Twitter and that's what I see most of the people talking about is the Stadium Creator, Stadium Creator, and stadiums everywhere. It's just such a huge hit. I think how many pages are in there now, like of stadiums, what's there 20,000 or some crazy amount of stadiums in there. And, ranging from, I saw that great Sandlot stadium that somebody made to the fantasy stadiums. I know people are doing historical stadiums like Bob and, Josh, obviously with the minor league stadiums. And then you see just all these crazy creations and for fictional franchises that people are going to be doing and just creating their own little baseball world, and creating the stadium for their team that they're going to be putting in that franchise. So very cool. Lots of fun stuff.
We got to pick.
It's in.
Second overall pick, Jets take Zach Wilson from BYU.
Hey, real quick, Kenny, I don't want to bring up a sore spot here. I didn't even have the word. SPH 24. I hate even asking this. I really do. He wants to know, could somebody try to do TD Ameritrade Park in Omaha? And I think somebody has, and I think that creation was pretty damn awesome. But I also heard a follow-up story that stadium may be cast off into the world of digital nothingness. Is that correct?
Yeah, someone made that stadium, spent a considerable amount of time making that stadium. More time than I want to talk about, or that person wants to talk about, probably about 7 hours worth. Tried to upload it, thought he was saving it correctly, didn't, deleted it, and can't find it again. And I have moved on to the Altoona Curve Stadium.
That is so bad.
I had plans to use that stadium with Bacon's roster, creating 30 NCAA teams and all playing at that stadium. So we'll just move on.
I'm
Next
sorry.
question, please.
I'm
But
sorry.
you know what? That stuff is a blessing, because the same thing happened to me last night, and I spent over 2 hours creating that, all these little blocks and everything else, and the game crashed. And I actually, when I went back, I did it faster and I did it better than it was the first time I did it. So I was like, you know what? It was meant to happen.
Hey,
So
I got to correct you
I'll
real
take
quick. B More Jack talked about building Memorial Stadium. I referred to it as War Memorials. We have a war memorial here just about 20 minutes. North Carolina A&T Stadium is War Memorial Stadium. It's just Memorial Stadium, so I apologize. But Joshua, if you will, sir, obviously you're a big fan of the franchise MLB The Show. But what was your first foray into baseball video game? What was the first one that made you think, damn, I love this shit?
Bases Loaded, I think.
God.
Yeah, remember that? You
It's
know what I
the
mean?
greatest game ever.
Yeah,
That was my love. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great game. Yep.
it was amazing. And it's funny. It's like that was, I think, the kickoff or whatever. And everybody had it in school or whatever. And my parents or whatever, I had to beg. And then finally, it was Christmas, I think, or whatever. And, and of all the gifts and everything, the big, gifts or whatever. And then the last gift was this small package, yay big or whatever. And I, busted into that or whatever. And it was Bases Loaded. And I think, my parents were like, what? What? That was it for me. You know what I mean? That was it. That was the one.
All right, so answer me this. I got two questions. It's a twofold question, all right? If you could bring one series back, one baseball series, and this is no knock on the show, okay? But there's some great ones that are now defunct. If you could bring one series back, what would it be?
Geez. God, that's a tough question. I mean, I think where I really, really, fell in love was the 2K. You know what I mean? Like it was the 2K series that really, hooked me to what it is now. And, and once that ended, it was like, what do I do now? You know what I mean? And I was an Xbox guy, actually, back then. And it was like, it took a year, I think, or whatever, with no baseball, that I was like, all right, man, I'm making the plunge, or whatever. So I purchased the PlayStation and I haven't looked back since or whatever. I love the MLB The Show. It's obviously there's issues or whatever with certain things or whatever, but they provide a great game, and it's deep, and it's as much as I need. And if we continue to improve on it as the years go on, I'm good. You know what I mean? But 2K was it for me. I think it was the series that, if they got their hands back on something like this or whatever, again, I'm excited that if, they're starting to talk about the football realm even or whatever. And it's like, all right, now, let's see what they can do. But I'm happy with MLB The Show. So,
well, go ahead, Bob. No. Okay, I'll go. No, you go. You go. Okay,
you
go. I was just going to talk about, there's obviously in the community of baseball video game fanism, we talk about some of the games that made such an impact. One of those being High Heat, MVP baseball, and you brought it up 2K. Now, my experience with High Heat, those three right there, typically thought of as console games. For me, it was PC, and that's why I got into PC gaming, because of all the mods that were available. All the mods. And there is one specific one for MVP Baseball 2005, and it was a mod from the 70s, and it had all these amazing stadiums and NBC Sports logo and ABC Sports logo on there, and it really did. It took me into this whole world that I was never able to visit, and that's kind of what the show, it's a segue into, that's what the show is doing for me now. So, yep, absolutely. Scotty, I apologize, buddy. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Basically, I was just going to ask Josh, so like you've got your own channel. Tell us a little bit about what you stream and what your channel is all about and what you do.
I mean, to be honest with you, whatever, this is kind of new to me. I'm just such a fan of all of like you guys, you know what I mean? Like I've just enjoyed watching all of your content that you guys are providing and doing or whatever. And so this year, like I dabbled into a little bit. I do the 162 every pitch, every out. And, as much as I possibly can. I have for like the last, I don't know, however many years or whatnot. But, and I was like, well, it was actually Mike Lowe that really kind of fired me up or whatever. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like what he's doing. And I enjoyed his content. You've got so much of the DD and, and the BRs and all of that or whatever. And it's like, that's fun. And I enjoy that, or whatever. But, it's like, I'd like diving deep into the franchise mode and looking at, potential call-ups and, and the injuries happen throughout the year or whatever. And like, what move are they going to make and this kind of thing or whatever. And I enjoy that content. And it was like, he, for me, was kind of like, all right, well, he's providing that and, and I really enjoy it. And it's like, well, man, I'm kind of doing the same thing or whatever. So I'm like, well, what if if I just put a little bit of my action out there or whatever. And so I just literally, as far as the Twitch platform goes or whatever, I'm like just starting to get into that. And then the Stadium Creator came out and I was, and the servers are having issues and things like that or whatever. So, and I got to say that it's kind of a blessing in disguise, I think, a little bit with the server issues, and that, people aren't able to really kind of, go for that, the DD and the BRs or whatever. So they're having to take a moment to kind of set back and, and play around with the Stadium Creator or whatever. And I think it's kind of doing wonders for the mode, because people are like, wow, hey, wait a minute, this is kind of cool, or whatever, and building these things or whatever, and prepping themselves for the stadiums in which they can play then when the servers are good. So, but then they're diving deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's like, I can make these realistic stadiums and yada, yada. And so I think it's going, but we got another one in. Is it 49ers?
We got to pick the 49ers selected Trey Lance from North Dakota State.
Whoa. Hey, wait a minute.
Huge. Personally, I thought he was the second best quarterback in the draft. I'm just going to throw that out there.
They throw the hood over on the Mac Jones, apparently, eh?
Apparently, and they were just fooling everybody.
Yeah, they kind of got everybody by surprise with that one.
That's it. Mac Jones to the Bears, right, Christopher? Mac Jones to the Bears, baby.
Hey, going to ruin his career too.
They're gonna take a wide receiver or something, because.
Did you just say we're going to ruin his career too?
Who said that?
I heard you say that. I heard you.
Me?
I said that.
I invite you onto the show because I love you and you're my brother, and this is how you treat
me.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. I apologize. No, I
Bobby,
take it back.
He's not wrong.
So doesn't need to be said. Yeah.
You're welcome.
This is an organization that asked the competition what they should do regarding their decision making going into this year. When is the person running in charge of things, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You don't ask do you think we should keep Nagy as our coach? What do you think the Packers are going to say?
I would assume yes.
Yes.
Oh, my brother, true story. My brother who lives in Chicago, he called me the other day. He goes, hey, who's Ryan Pace? He's the Bears GM. I said, why? Because he doesn't follow Bears football because he's smart. And he goes, well, what's he do? And so I explained to him, and he goes, oh, well, he's a really sharp guy. And I'm like, well, don't let TV appearances fool you, buddy. Okay? Yeah, he may be sharp, but there's some issues going on in there, Chicago.
So everyone thought of Adam Gase.
Yeah, and we saw what happened there. So now we've got the Falcons.
I think Josh was going to ask a question.
Oh, go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to say, so I live in Chicago. Chris, are you in Chicago right now?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. And as a native Michigan native or whatever, Michigander, moving to Chicago and watching the suffer that happens or whatever amongst all of Chicago, you know what I mean? Like, it's actually kind of a nice blessing, for me or whatever. But I feel for you guys.
That's the thing is, like,
really bad.
We do this to ourselves, but it's like we wear it like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it just is. That's what it is. You live in Chicago. It's like we're in one of the largest cities in America, but every one of our franchises just cannot get their shit together for longer than like a year or two. And then it's just, it makes no sense.
See, but here's the difference. Jets fans like Kenny here, they have no issue. Like, nah, we suck. We're going to suck next year. We're going to suck 3 years from now. Bears fans like, oh, no. No, because what's his name's going to step up, and Nagy's going to learn how to call a decent game, and Trubisky's going to be this. He's going to learn how to be. Oh man, no, we could win 19 games next year. We really could. Yeah. So yeah.
That is true.
Jets fans, we understand. We understand the suffer. I mean, there's an acronym of Jets just end the season. There's a reason that came about. We understand it, but the draft happens. Everyone's excited. Preseason, everyone's excited. First play of a game, everyone's excited. It's like third or fourth game when it all goes downhill. So we'll see. And every 3 years, we're doing this same pitch again. Okay, who's going to be our quarterback? So it is what it is. We understand it. We embrace it. We're the laughing stock. We're the laughing stock of the NFL draft, as I said to Chris earlier.
The Falcons are on the board. Mac Jones is available. I heard a rumor today, multiple times, that if Mac Jones was available, the Falcons would look to trade Matt Ryan.
It's going to happen. If they don't trade him, this is what's going to happen. They're going to pick Mac Jones because I heard that same thing. Matt Ryan is going to fight for his position, but he's going to have like 1 or 2 games, and he's going to get called. He's going to go sit the bench. So Mac Jones is going to be a Falcon before the end of this day. I'm going to tell you right now. I think Matt Ryan is going to start the season as a Falcon. He's probably not going to end it, though.
Yeah.
Just going to throw it out there.
Yeah. What's left on Matt's? I know that the value is the AAV is substantial, but I can't remember. Is he on a 2 years left on that deal, or is it 1? I think it's 2.
I thought it was 1, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Because 1, you can move that. There's ways you can manipulate that money. 2, that type of money becomes a little problematic and really cuts down on the amount of suitors that are available, especially with the salary cap issues this year. So we have morphed from down in the dugout to the dirty gridiron. How's that? Is that okay?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, we've definitely morphed a little bit, but it's a good thing. I think doing a show like this, obviously this isn't something that we want to do just during baseball season. We're going to continue to talk show 24 hours a day and 365 days a year. So we'll always be talking MLB and MLB the show for sure. But we're also going to do some other things as the months go on and different games come out. So we're going to continue to evolve this platform that we're actually developing with you guys. You guys are actually coming along for the ride as we do all this stuff. So it's a lot of fun. But we're getting close here, Bob. I think it's about time we start to talk. So. Yeah, we don't want to keep them waiting. We won't keep people waiting too much longer. But
Okay.
Obviously, again, we've talked about the roster vaults aren't working right now. So we will not release a roster until the vaults are fixed. With that being said, hopefully, we hear something soon on the vaults and the issues that are going on. I know they've been fixing servers every day, so fingers crossed. And then our plan is, barring everything, working okay next week, we're going to get these rosters out to you guys next week. So a day, I don't have a day to give you guys yet because obviously there's, nothing's working correctly at this point. But once the vaults and everything are fixed and things can be released properly, we will announce a release date. We'll probably do a show just maybe the day before the release of the actual roster to kind of preview it all. We'll give you guys previews of all the teams. We'll show some video. Maybe we'll even play some games on stream. We'll do a whole bunch of stuff to get you guys hyped up. And again, the roster's not just sitting there just waiting to come out. We're still working on things. We still have a few teams to complete. We're going back and we're correcting a bunch of the ages that were off that we were able to correct. Potentials are being adjusted. Equipment's being adjusted. We're fine tuning. We're keeping up to date with a lot of the transactions that are happening in real time. So, we want to make sure that when we put it out, it's the best possible roster you guys can get. So, obviously we've talked about this roster for a while now. We want to get it out. We know you guys want it. Be patient. Obviously, it's not going to be out this weekend, but this will probably be the last weekend that you guys will have the MLB The Show 21 without a full minors roster, because I definitely would predict that next weekend you guys will be playing with the roster. Again, what day next week? I can't. I'm not going to say that until
Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday.
It depends on what happens with this vault. So we just got to wait. We just got to be patient, see what the plan is for the fix on all the issues that are going on. And like I said, we still have some things to tighten up. So everybody who wants this roster, reach out to Chris Ouija on Twitter, Southside. He's sorry, Chris. I told Chris I was going to do that today. Chris said Chris is finishing up a team. I have a couple teams I'm finishing up. We've got some random players out there, but we'll get it done over the next few days, and we'll make sure everything's fine tuned. We also have I believe MLB The Show's planning a roster update tomorrow. So we'll see what's in that roster update. We'll see what kind of stuff they throw in there and how that looks. But I would anticipate we make an announcement on a release date, over the next few days. So continue to follow us on social media. You can follow the Down in the Dugout account. You can follow the Scout Scoop account. Follow Chris. Follow Bob, Kenny. Follow Justin or Josh. I'm sorry, but follow us all on social media, and you'll see the announcement on the release date very, very soon. So we'll have a lot of fun next week with it. We'll have the Scout Scoop streamers streaming some teams and streaming some previews as soon as we're able to share the roster in the vault. And so I think you guys are going to be excited. I think the roster looks fantastic. Obviously, it's being built from the ground up on next gen. It's going to be the first one we've done in how long, Chris? That's just basically from scratch. I mean, I can't
years.
Yeah. So we haven't done one from scratch in a long, long time. So this is basically from the ground up. I
gotta say it's got to be PS3 days.
Yeah.
I think right.
Mm-hmm. A very long time. So it's exciting to see it. The players look great. Faces look great. Just everything looks really, really good. Running a bunch of simulations as we complete the roster to see how things sim out, and we've got a much more accurate top 50 prospect list, and like I said, we've corrected a ton of potentials and just all kinds of crazy stuff that that we do when we do these rosters. So you pair that with long ball Lux stadiums that we're creating, and Kenny creating, and all these guys are creating, and you guys are going to have an awesome franchise experience. I can't wait myself to dig in. I'm excited to dig in myself next week and play some franchise. And normally I don't start playing this early, but this year I definitely plan on digging in very, very soon, and getting in some games with all these stadiums and rosters. So be patient. It's coming very, very soon. Exciting. I can't wait for you guys to see it.
So obviously that's big news, and we're going to have more on that next week as we start to get information about maybe when rosters and vaults are fixed. So we'll definitely keep you guys up to date. If we hear anything, you'll hear something. So, but Scotty, what do we have going on next week? What's on the agenda on Monday, buddy?
Next week is a full week of MLB The Show full minors. We're going to go wall to wall with full minors next week. We're going to have previews on every show. We're going to be showing these rosters off. We're going to be dropping them next week at some point. We're going to show off some of these stadiums. We're going to do a bunch of just basically content next week geared around these rosters and actual gameplay, and some other surprises that we're working on for next week. So like I said, we have the 2 shows planned as of now, the Monday and Thursday show. Stay tuned, because we may add an additional show in the middle there on a Tuesday or Wednesday night to drop some of this content. So just stay tuned. And exciting. We'll get some of our streamers back on with us next week to talk about some of the plans that they have with these rosters when they come out. But yeah, we've got some big stuff. Next week's going to be a big week for us, so we're super excited. Thank you to all the 5-Tool fans, everybody that signed up tonight, the subscribers to the channel. We appreciate it more than you guys would know. It's a lot of fun, and being able to get guests like Katie tonight and Roflo and all these other people that we've been able to get on the show, is just a tribute to, having the support from you guys. If we didn't have you guys watching the show and didn't have you guys subscribing to the show, we wouldn't be able to get these people because they wouldn't want to come on here at all, but, and again, thank you to Josh, and the creators out there that are making these amazing stadiums, Kenny, Chris, all you guys that are just contributing. Frisk. I mean, the things that Frisk does for this community is just amazing. I think he's like an unsung hero in this whole MLB The Show community. He's always got great insight to the business. He's got great insight to just content making. If you guys, if you're not following M.Frisk on Twitter or YouTube, Twitch, follow him. He's got awesome content. But there's just so many great contributors. We've got some guys from the community helping out with some of the free agents and the people that we're missing in this roster. Like I know Sean of Detroit and Ryan, who we've talked about before. He's contributed with some of the players he's created for the Pirates and some other teams. He's helped out with it a little bit, and obviously James and Chase, part of the full minors team that we've worked with for years. So all you guys, it's a great effort. We do this all year long, and then the game comes out, and then once the roster comes out, it's like, all right, we've got one out, and then we kind of build on it all year, but just very cool to actually see it's coming to fruition again. And we've got another big release upon us soon, so that should be a lot of fun. Very exciting stuff next week.
So, and lastly, and I couldn't have said any of that better, we do want to thank Josh for stopping by, Kenny for stopping by. Amazing interaction tonight with the crowd, so much fun. Chris, whatever, thanks for being here, we appreciate you. But I before we do go, real quickly, Scott, I do want to hit on something you said real quick, and we'll get out of here.
Sure.
You talked about us being a multifaceted type of channel and not just focus on MLB The Show. MLB The Show is always going to be our bread and butter. It's our love. It's our passion. And it will always be in the rotation. But there are a lot of games coming out that need attention, that require attention, and that we're going to want to talk about. And we're going to do that on this show. And we're going to have guests from those games on this show. Some big, powerful guests.
We're not stopping.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to have at least one night a week, as the season rolls on, 2 nights a week dedicated to MLB The Show. But we're going to add more content. We're going to add more nights. We're going to add more hours of talk. We're going to add different things. And, 2K, Madden, we see you. We're going to come and we're going to talk about you like we talk about MLB The Show when you release. So you better make those franchise modes good because we're coming to talk about you, So just stuff like that, just PGA Tour. We're going to dig into all these games, and we're going to bring in the people from those communities into this show, just like we're doing with MLB The Show and these baseball games. So it's going to be a lot of fun, exciting to see this, what we can evolve this channel into over the next 4, 5, 6 months. But exciting, and exciting to have the team around us that we have. We've got some great streamers. Obviously Stealth, Nutsy. Even though he's a Pirates fan, we'll cut him some slack for that. So we've got
he's streaming right now, so he can't even defend himself anymore.
He knows we talk about him all night anyway. But Shamrocks and Andrew Pace. We've got just so many great. I don't want to.
Lions Den, so many.
Lions Den. There's just so many great content creators, and then we got Kenny Lindbergh who writes for us. Rick Underwood. We've got so many guys who do these different things for us with the scoutscoops.net. Don't forget, check out that website. We're also looking at a new feature for the website, Chris, that we're going to be putting up there at some point shortly. Where we're
going to have all the stadiums and stuff. They're going to be featured on the site within hopefully a couple weeks or so. It might take a little longer to get up, but it'll be there.
So we're going to have, just similar to the Pick Your Franchise, we're going to have a couple pages dedicated to stadiums where you're going to be able to see a little picture of each stadium that's created, who created it, a little blurb about it, and we'll have it out there on the internet so people can say, okay, I'm going to go here, and then what's the name of the person that created it, and then they could go look for it in the vault or whatever. But just exciting stuff, man. We're excited to be able to do this stuff for you guys, and we want to keep evolving with this different content. And that's kind of what we're doing. We're just kind of evolving every week, and it's a lot of fun to do this with you guys. And just excited about it.
Okay, awesome. So, well, like I said, we want to thank all the Five Tool fans, all the people who stopped by here. You guys truly are part of this community. We're making this bigger. We're bringing more content. We're only going to evolve, and you guys are as big a part of that as what we do here. I guarantee you, 2-3 months from now, we're not going anywhere. This show's going up. It's going bigger. It's going larger, and we're bringing more content. And you guys are part of that. And we're going to see you guys in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 2 years. I guarantee your ass we're going to be on this show talking about the EA college football release. Guarantee you. So thank you guys for being a huge part of it, the biggest part of it, really. So yeah, everyone, until Monday, enjoy your weekend. Thank you again for stopping by and spending the evening with us, and everybody have a great weekend.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I really
Thanks,
appreciate it. This
Thanks.
is so much fun.